Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're in this episode. We have two members of the audience that wanted to come to the stage. And you introduce yourself?
I am Javier.
I'm Ignacio. Thank you for letting us be here.
Yes. With this gentleman, we're going to be reviewing the movie Whiplash, with um, with an emphasis on the education aspect of the movie. Do you want to share something?
Not really.
Oh, let's be advised that it's going to be spoilers.
Yeah.
There's going to be
It is not a
spoilers.
spoiler-free review. Well, let's start for a brief summary of the movie.
Okay, I can give the summary. Basically, it's about a student that is studying music. He's a drummer, and he wants to be like the best drummer. And in order to do that, he starts studying the Schaffer Conservatory. And then there he encounters with a teacher that pushes him to his limits, Fletcher. And the movie revolves around Neiman's search for aiming for his goal and how much is he willing to give from him. It's a very good film. If you haven't watched it, you should really watch it. And that's what I think the movie is more about, like very briefly summarized.
Yeah, the movie tackles some things about music and how the music industry, specifically teachers of music, treat their students. And it's a lot of there is known that in music industries there's a lot of abuse and harassment for teachers and so.
I believe it's more centered around the obsession aspect
Mhm.
of Newman, the main character, obsession with being the best. Because as he said on the movie, he preferred to die at 30 years old by an accident than live as a nobody.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the themes of the movie is how much are you willing to sacrifice in order to get your goals.
Yeah.
Your goals, right?
Yeah, it's a movie about a lot of things, but I think that the main dish here that we're going to talk about is about Fletcher, the teacher from this conservatory that pushes Neiman to his limits. What do you think about Fletcher?
Oof. I will say first, then you. But I will say that he is the representation of perfection. To me, is the idea of what it means to want to be perfect as a teacher and as a musician. And since we are centering around the teacher aspect, one as a teacher wants their students to be the best of the best. But how can you achieve that if you can? Well, in today's society, you can't be like violent. You have to be kind. But he reversed that and he's violent. But he gets results. I believe that is the main issue. That he gets results.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Well, I never had to study music. It never was my strength. But I think that yeah, like in all ambits, we always had teachers like Fletcher. Maybe not to that extent, like throwing chairs at people, throwing discs, kicking drums. But I think that yeah. Also, I remember what you said about Fletcher seeking for results. And it's incredible because he in the movie says so himself that he's never had a result. He's never had like a Charlie Chaplin. That's what he always wanted to have, but he never got it. And we can see that Fletcher is very old. Like he's probably on his 60s, 70s. You must consider like how much time has passed and he hasn't got results, and that says a lot about his like teaching methodology because he's basically just repeating.
Yeah.
We never see theory, we just see people perform, and that's it.
I mean, we have one case of someone succeeding, but he dies.
Yeah.
That made me think about how you said that the classes, etc., is more like he did the classes for himself. That he wanted to prove that he could create the next star. So he was more centered around. He didn't want to guide the students. There was a part that really stuck with me is when he says, "This is my band" to Newman. That you are an outsider. This is my band. I want. This is that he did what he wanted to do with the band because he was the most important one. When in reality, I believe in jazz bands, the most important part are the how do you consider the drummer? Yeah, because he's the one who had the rhythm. So he wanted to be always in charge, and I believe. Well, we already said that it is with spoilers, but at the end, when Neiman starts to like getting off the like
The chart.
what?
The chart. Getting off the
Yeah,
chart.
He begin the
When-
solo, right?
Yeah, when he begins the solo, he disobeys Fletcher because Fletcher wanted him to leave. He wanted to ruin his life, but Neiman started to doing the caravan, the start of caravan completely alone, and that threw Fletcher off guard. And that's when, in a way, Fletcher knew and Neiman knew that they succeeded.
Anyways, the ending is creepy. It's concerning. It's the last straw that Newman need to in order to achieve success in a way. You know, the success that Fletcher wanted to, and I think that's also something that reflects how much power a teacher have over a student. You know, Fletcher pushed over Newman to the point that he nearly dies, actually, right? And Newman wasn't really Fletcher put a mark in Newman so strong that even after Newman being like therapy and stuff like that, he was still thinking him his teacher. And later, like he made that sacrifice, and you look the eyes of his father, and it's not a proud sight.
It's like
a,
horror.
It's like horror. It's like scary that he lost his son in that moment. And I think that something happened. The same thing happened in school when you told the student that you're going to get failure, you know, or you're stupid. I go, I expect, or you always have bad grades. I expect you to.
Yeah.
It's surprising that you have a good grade.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is like diminishing the work of the student
Mm-hmm.
because you want him in a way you want him to fail because you didn't because you simply have that vision that this is a lost cause. I think that is a common phrase that the student is a lost cause, and since it's a lost cause, you have to like let him be on his way. Like, he has no future.
Yeah, I think that we really underestimate as teachers sometimes the amount of power that we have on students, like what you said now. Because we're like students, like, well, outside of this scenario in the Chapel Conservatory, like in college, in high school, we're always around them. We're around students in their like development years, and that can really like shape the way you are. And now that we actually touched about the power, what do you think about the strategies what he uses about he as a teacher? I think that I'll start with the sense that it is noticeable that Fletcher really didn't go to like a teacher school, like didn't study pedagogy, because he would know like the basics of that is students really won't perform well under pressure, and he will also know that coercive power is not the way.
You want to say? I want to add something else on this.
I want to. It is like related to the strategy that is violence,
Mhm.
because usually before here in Chile, and they reprimand students by hitting them, and that is a way to for them to pay attention and at the same time to have like a as a it is the contrary of reward. Sorry, I just
It's
Punishment.
a punishment. Yeah, sorry, a
The-
punishment.
The good old ways that old people said. and
Yes.
it's-
But in the case of punishment, it serves for them to stay in line because I believe that in the movie only Neiman is the one who talks back to the teacher, and first of all is for them to get in line, as if to not rise against the teacher, and then for in life to be like more shy, like to not rebel against the established things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.
to end the point is more like Neiman is the one you see in the movie who suffered the most because he is the one with the most potential of the band. So he wants him to be better. But how he makes it better? By making him suffer.
Yeah, I think behaviorism is strong in this movie,
Yeah.
right? It's really strong, and Fletcher is like molding this human character into another him. Actually. But if you see the deleted scene, did you see the deleted scene of this movie?
The what?
The deleted scene of this movie?
No,
I think I just watched one.
There's a scene when Fletcher comes to his house, and he lives in a small
And that's dinner.
condo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he eat like microwave food. It's not a luxurious style of life. It's a sad state of life, actually. And I think that's also reflect how teachers, and we can see them see it in like the national like panorama. The teachers like dropped out the system. They burn out and they can't take it anymore. I think in a certain way, Fletcher is a representation of that. Someone that wants to be the life and dreams that teachers have when they are studying, and then the system is the one that make them suffer and corrupt them. And it's concerning when you talk about coercive power, right? Coercive power. And if you, I don't know if you agree with me, but when you start to analyze the different, the other like fields of study, psychology, laws, engineering, it's different from us because we're teachers, molding teachers, teachers teaching teachers, right? Outside, you don't have a teacher, you have another engineer teaching an engineer, and it's not the same. It's different in a certain way. They don't know anything about, most of the time, it's not a rule, they didn't know anything, they don't know anything about theory. And there you have like those cases of harassment that teachers violently like reacting to students, stuff like that. I think that's happening in a university or college level more than in those fields, more than in actual schools.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I believe I went to read about that, but I was thinking about those cases where engineers do classes, but at the same they do classes to adults, but at the same time they shouldn't be doing classes because they don't know the strategies to make classes. Because we are like training a way to make our language to adapt to the situation. Like you can't say a student like something you say an adult, and vice versa. Because if you're treating a student as an adult, it will lead to horrible situations. And if you treat an adult as a kid, they will also lead to bad situations. Because no one wants to be treated as a kid.
Yeah. Well, in the case that you talk about teachers, like not really having to be teachers, I think Fletcher comes from an age where everybody could be a teacher. And that could be either good or bad. Because it's clear that Fletcher doesn't have these studies, and it still happens that some people just have knowledge related to an area, and they are able to teach anyways. And I think that's very common nowadays in college, as you said. I have, for example, like architecture. There's always teachers that are like very strict and cruel. I think there is a difference between cruelty and strictness, because it's okay to be strict, but it's not okay to be cruel. I think that we have passed that age where we thought that to get the best results out of a student, we have to like shape them, just like Fletcher. I think that we have passed that. I think we can move on from that.
I mean, most of the things that Fletcher did in the movie was to make Neiman the best at it, like bringing out another drummer, making them stay to 2 in the morning, like practicing, and all of those things.
Yeah, I think that Fletcher really targeted Neiman because he thought that he could be the best. Because I think that's why the movie is called Whiplash and not, for example, Caravan. Because in the end, it's Andrew that plays Caravan, but Whiplash is like the start of all. It's like the start of a
Mhm.
point of no return. That's why I think the movie is called Whiplash, because that's like the point where Neiman couldn't back down. Because if it was, for example, in the first class of Fletcher, he could have go back, but he
Mhm.
didn't.
Mm.
Went back. Yeah.
She didn't remember, yeah, but what about I was thinking about what about the other students of Fletcher? 'Cause
How you?
They are
he,
How-
yeah, we neglect them.
I get it.
Everything was to and for Neiman.
I believe that is because, as we have said before, Neiman was the best. So everyone else doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fletcher saw the potential in Neiman, right? And I was saying before, teachers tend to do that also nowadays. Not all teachers, some teachers. I hope
Yeah.
some teachers, like they saw the potential. I mean, every teacher do that. I think saw the potential in a student, and you want to like make it better. Yeah, progress
Make the best out of
make the
them.
best out of the same potential, the same talent. But there are students that are not born with talent, and with talent is something that you are born with, and some people need to work hard for it, and some teachers like don't see those hardworking students. They only look for those talented ones.
But at the same time, with the system that we have, is almost encouraged to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's the issue.
What do you
Yeah,
think
it's
is
hard to like. Do you want to say something? Okay.
keep? And then I have a question. Keep going.
Because yeah, the system wants us to focus on students, but at the same time they like fill us with work and students. Like for example, in my practicum, I had around 45 students, and there is no way that you can care about everyone. I mean, you can care, you can focus on them, but it won't be the same level as if it was 25 students, 30,
I mean,
and you just have to. You end up working with the students that really want to, that you really feel about potential, because there are students that just don't care.
in this case, the system creates the feeling of apathy. That
Mhm.
you shouldn't care about those who are. It's going to sound like really bad and unworthy of your knowledge. They don't deserve to know because they don't want to know, because they are mediocre.
I have a question for you. Maybe this could be our last question.
Yeah.
Because we're running out of time. Related to what you talk about, I remember. What do you think this is happening? Like student, like the apathy and those looking for talent in schools, right? When you neglect other students in order to nurture this talented student. What do you think is happening? I want to begin with saying that I believe is that we only care about results rather than the whole process. Because what happened in my pool, that you live in my pool, and you can relate with this. I'm sorry. Instituto Nacional, your alma mater, right?
Yeah.
In your alma mater.
Yeah.
And you go to Plaza Maipú and you have an stencil and publicity that said dos puntajes nacionales. I'm quoting in Spanish. Dos puntajes nacionales. You have many students that go to university, maybe you have two national score. That's the only thing that matters. If the other, how many were you in your
Class? 40.
40? You have two national scores. What about the other 38? Maybe they died.
Yeah, but
But
it doesn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't care.
Yeah, it's sad how society will left integrate and at the same time leave out students that maybe weren't like good but not the best.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that every student has something to bring to the table. But sadly, society doesn't really care about that. Doesn't really care about students being different. They care about, as you said, results. I think that we can get the best out of students by motivating them and being able to show them what they are able to do. I think that's something that teachers neglect sometimes by not letting students express themselves. It's important for students to be able to do things, to know that they are able to do things, and to learn their self-worth and society.
Mhm.
That is a hard thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, I think we run out of time, sadly.
Yeah. But hey, thank you for coming. I know you were like seeing the show from the backstage, but hey, thank you for being here. Like, thank you for being extremely concise with what we said.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope we can do it again. And thank you. We see you in the next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.